Hello, welcome to my channel Visa Talks UK. So in today's video, I'll be talking about the South African visa application process. Yes, on my passport, I have a visa. As you can see, got the visa approved, right? Got it approved. I picked it up yesterday or so. So just to be clear, if you can see, yeah. So got the visa approved, and I'll be just sharing my experience with you through the application process, some critical things that um, applicants need to know now in terms of the South African visa process, how you need to attach your yellow card, like in what format you need to provide it. I'll also be providing the new details of the visa fee, and also how to book the appointment. So I'll be using a whole checklist to talk about the checklist for the visa application itself, so that it will guide you in making while you're making your own application. So watch this video to the end. I'll also talk about how to fill the visa form, right? So because I saw so many persons get making mistakes even while I was there. So I'll give you a whole 360 information. So ensure you watch this video to the end to get those insightful tips, and also ensure that you have your own visa process done at VFS seamlessly. So welcome back to my channel. So yes, remember I mentioned that there's a visa checklist, right, that guides the whole South African application process. So I'll be using that as a framework, basically to discuss point by point the documents I submitted and the possible mistakes you need to avoid, while you're arranging or making your documents available for the visa submission. So let's begin. And so don't mind me, I have a checklist here, so I'll be just using it to as a guide here. So first, the South African visa application form. Yeah, it's a form that is downloadable. I would also provide the link where you could download the form on the description of this video. Yeah, but then it's a form that is downloadable on the VFS website, which is the third party provider for the embassy or the South African High Commission in Nigeria. So basically, yes, you download the form, you fill it in capital letters in black ink only. That means you need to use a black pen. You don't use blue. I saw people using blue pen, to fill the form. It has to be a black pen, and it has to be in capital letter. Ensure that you fill all the details. If you go to if you get to a section where you don't know how to, or rather the information does not relate to you, just put NA, which is non-applicable, of course, in caps. So that settles it. So yes, if you need guidance on how to fill the visa form, it's very clear. The visa form is very direct. It's more of the easiest form to fill, from my experience filling visa forms. But then if you need a guide, I can also help you, make a video, just make a comment, get some substantial number of comments, then I can use that to make a video. But quickly, let's proceed to the next item, which is the passport. And so your two identical passport, right? It's a passport size photo that you just two in black and a white background, right? But it has to be reset, so that's also needed. Then of course your international passport, obviously you need that. You also need copies of the data page of your passport. So the copies of the data page of your passport, two colored copies, you need to attach that, as well as copies of existing and previously issued visas. So that's very important. Also, remember, these are all the things I submitted that actually made me got my visa, right? So again, for you that did not see before, this is the approved visa. So these are the things I use to get the visa approved. So let's continue. So a self-introduction letter with your physical address and phone number, very clear. I can also maybe I will just make a template of how you how do I do. Okay, so I'll just make a template of the sample introduction letter I did. That made me got my visa. I would also put that, maybe I'll make a Google Drive of the Google link of it and also drop in the description, so that that can guide you, so you don't need to crack your head too much on so many things, right? So that was also done. Then so I submitted that. Then the other document that was critical is the introduction letter. In this, the first one I mentioned the self-introduction, but this is another introduction letter from your company or from business. If you're a business owner, an introduction letter from the company, from your company, introducing you as the owner of the business on the company's direct paper, is quite important. If you an employee of a company, then you need to provide same letter, right, with your employer's details, the signatures properly signed, physical. So the letter must have physical address and phone number of the company. And also, if your letter of introduction is coming from maybe a government agency, it must be physically signed or stamped by the office. So it's quite important that you take note of that. Then yes, so this is the next information I would like to share is the hotel booking, which is what I mentioned. I saw so many people making mistakes and being sent out. So on the checklist is mentioned clearly that the hotel reservation must be verifiable and it must be done directly to the hotel, not using third party. So most persons use booking.com and some persons presented Airbnb reservations. No, for South African High Commission they don't accept that. That has to be directly from the hotel. Luckily, I know some hotels that you can just book without you can book and pay on arrival, right? So you don't need to worry. So I will also drop I think I have one or two of those hotels. I'll also drop their the website of that hotel on my description, so that can also guide you. So remember, you book directly and not book through third party hotels because it's not going to be accepted. Yes. Then also one critical document that South Africans don't joke with is the yellow card. So if you are wondering what the yellow card looks like, this is a copy of my own yellow card which I used for my application. So this is a copy of what the yellow card looks like, right? So so when I submitted, it was more like so again, just to also share experience. So when I submitted, I saw another person that was actually sent back to go and photocopy the yellow card. It must be done in color, and if you're photocopying your yellow card, you should have 3 pages of the copy, so you're submitting three paper documents, if I put that. But let me explain. So once you're photocopying, you photocopy first the yellow spot, right? The yellow card itself, the yellow front face, as I'm showing you. Then there's an inner where your name, signature, date of birth, and what have you. So there's an inner, right? This is the inner. You photocopy that as well on the second page. Then on the third page, you photocopy this. So this makes up a 3-page document that you submit as your yellow card. Some persons, what they did was to make it a 2-in-1 page, right? So you're not having 3 slips, you're having just only 2 pages. Some persons also did everything in 1 page. No, they'll send you back. It has to be 3 page, each separate page for each separate part of the application, and ensure that you get a very valid yellow card. How do you get a yellow card? In Nigeria, most times you get it through the Port Health, right? Port of Health, like pronounce that well, or is it Port of Health or Port of Health? But it's under the Federal Ministry of Health. If you're in Abuja, if you go to the Ministry of Health at the Federal Secretariat, just by the Ministry of Education, they have a stand there. I think I've gotten yellow card before. So when I got there too, because that was kind of outdated, right? I got to get a new one before my application. So they just gave me some. I showed them the old one. They gave me some drops rather than giving me an injection, and they gave me this yellow card. I think I spent like 2.5 or 3K. It's done. The payment is on Remita online and all that. But if you're not in Abuja, look for a Port of Health. Most of the Port of Health are in the airport, right? So look for a Port of Health close to you, or look for a Ministry of Education. You could ask around within your state, how you could get this thing. But it's very important that it meets all the criteria, for the South African High Commission. The following are quite required, are mandatory to be reflected on the yellow card. First, the full name of the applicant. In short, let me don't read out all this is. You're seeing it on the screen right now, the critical details that needs to be reflected on your yellow card. So that is very important. Ensure that is noted while you're making your application. Then of course, the other vital document is the bank statement. So in South Africa, it's a 6-month bank statement. It's quite required of you. A recent 6 months up to the last day, or the 2 days or last day to your application. It has to be recent. If it's not recent, you're going to be sent out. So it has to be recent. Ensure that you make that notice, and also it has to be physically stamped. This is where some persons also, because I know banks these days will give you an e-stamp, GT Bank, Access Bank, and what have you. They do that a lot. But then you have to still take that bank statement to the bank so that it is physically stamped. If it is not physically stamped, it's going to be sent back. So ensure that you do that strongly. If you're getting a sponsor, the sponsor's letter back in the bank statement with his copy of his ID and what have you is quite required. You're also seeing on the screen a detailed explanation, lengthy explanation rather. You're seeing it on the screen of what it entails if you're using a sponsor. Then if you're traveling on an unofficial assignment, you need to have, like for instance, you're going for a conference, you've been invited over officially. You need to have a letter of invitation from your inviter in South Africa. It's a company here, the name of the company, the phone number, the email, anything else that can that can act as a contact, right, to ensure that they verify that invitation. It's very important that is reflected on the invitation letter and able to move forward. So you can also ensure that you kind of include a copy of the recent 3 or 4 email communication that you've had with that company inviting you over. You attach it to the invitation letter. That validates and shows that yes, it's just beyond just the paper of invitation. You guys, or you and the company, will have engaged a lengthy time, to be able to arrive at that invitation. So that also supports or give credence to the invitation letter you have. So it's very important. I used, because I was actually invited. So yes, I was invited. Let me spell it out. I was invited, and I had my invitation letter. And the program I went for is kind of a fully funded program. I just had to provide some or the program I'm going for. I've still not gone for the program. Program I'm going for, it's a fully funded program. Just there are some other little stipends or expenses I need to cover myself. I also try to look around and see if those kind of programs can be shared with you, so that you can, as listeners or as my YouTube subscribers, so that you can use that to also gain access. Because the thing about South Africa is a sticker visa, right? Can boost your travel history. So I'll try to also make 1 or 2 findings, to put those links on the description, so that you can also use that as your own leverage or as your own reason for visiting. You can visit as a tourist, no problem, but having an invitation from somebody or a company in South Africa would also strengthen your application, because of course nothing is guaranteed. Even if you submit the document, it can be refused, right? But then I'll try to make those links so that you can also leverage on that in your application. Then of course, if you're if you're married, right, and you of course you need to present your marriage certificate. But before you present that, you don't just present that, you take it to South African High Commission requires that you kind of notarize the document, a copy of the document as a marriage certificate you're submitting. So you take it to a notary public. Any notary public can do that. So it doesn't have to be high level. Just any notary, certified notary public, can make a notary stamp on it, and that copy you take to the embassy or the High Commission for your submission. Then also for birth certificate, if you're traveling with a minor, it has to be provided. Then in addition to the hotel booking, right, the flight booking, you can book it from a third party, is fine. It's a reservation, right? So you can do that. You can do direct. I have videos of how to make a flight reservation without paying. You can watch that video to guide you on how to do your own flight reservation for the sake of your application. Then the visa fee that was paid was just 10,400 naira as a visa fee. Then there was a service charge paid to VFS while I was booking the appointment. So yes, you need to make an appointment before you can visit the High Commission. The VFS. You don't apply through the embassy, you apply through VFS. You need to make an appointment. So as part of the payment you need to pay while making the appointment, which is the VFS service fee, is 29,400 naira. So in all, I paid a total of 46,200 for this visa application, of course, and I got the visa approved. So guys, I hope I've been able to give you good information on how you could apply for your South African visa all by yourself. It's a do-it-yourself video, it's a do-it-yourself content that I'm trying to share with you here. But again, if you need support as a premium, if you need a premium service or for the processing of your own visa application, we can make that happen. Just send me a mail. My email address is in the description. pick it up from there. Then we can help you process your application end to end. And if you have questions or clarifications that you feel I haven't touched, right, you can make those known in the comments, and I'll be looking at them and be responding to them as best as I can. So thank you very much for watching the video. Until that next video, maybe I'll make a video content for South Africa. I don't know yet once I'm there, but then thank you. Bye bye.